In a crucial development, US President Donald Trump has met with Jordan's King Abdullah II to discuss the future of Gaza, with key diplomatic efforts underway to preserve the ceasefire. As tensions rise, Egypt, Jordan, and global powers weigh in on the future of Gaza and the rights of the residents, with calls for a fair and just resolution to the Palestinian issue. Join our special coverage on Qnews, where we tackle the latest developments. Egypt has announced plans to present a comprehensive vision for the reconstruction of Gaza, one that ensures the Palestinian people remain on their land while safeguarding their legitimate rights. In a statement, the Egyptian Foreign Ministry reaffirmed its commitment to working toward lasting regional peace. It also expressed hope for cooperation with the Trump administration to achieve just resolution to the Palestinian issue. The ministry stressed that any settlement must project the gains of regional peace and the Israeli occupation and implement the two-state solution, paving the way for stability and coexistence. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and King Abdullah II of Jordan have confirmed their unified stance on the full implementation of the Gaza ceasefire agreement. In a phone call, both leaders emphasized the importance of ensuring the agreement's complete adherence for regional peace and stability. That came as the two leaders emphasized the need to continue the release of detainees and to facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. An Egyptian source has revealed that Egypt and Qatar are intensifying diplomatic efforts to save the Gaza ceasefire agreement. The source added that high-level talks are ongoing with all parties amid increasing US and Israeli pressure to resume military operations if detainees are not released by Saturday. The mediation efforts aim to implement the deal fairly, maintain calm, and avoid escalation. The source added that both Cairo and Doha underlined the importance of adhering to the agreement to prevent a regional crisis. Egypt has expressed the rejection of statements made by Israeli and American officials regarding the Palestinian cause. Egyptian sources emphasized that Egypt rejects any proposal to allocate land for Gaza's residents or displace Palestinians from their land for resettlement. The sources further stated that any solution to the crisis must ensure that Gaza's residents remain on their own land. Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman al-Safadi has stated that King Abdullah II's meeting with US President Donald Trump provided an important platform for proposing alternative ideas to rebuild Gaza. Al-Safadi emphasized the shared stance of Jordan and Egypt against displacement and their support for a Palestinian state based on a two-state solution. He also added that Jordan had presented proposals aligned with the unified Arab stance, advocating for Palestinian rights. Upcoming Arab summits will reaffirm these principles. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has praised Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and their allies for rejecting plans for displacement and land annexation. Abbas emphasized that there can be no peace without a Palestinian state, immediate cessation of hostilities, Gaza reconstruction and governance under a Palestinian-led plan supported by both Arab and international partners. The Palestinian president reaffirmed Palestinian resilience, praised King Abdullah's II unwavering support, and called for unified Arab efforts toward a two-state solution, increased international recognition of Palestine, and a peace conference led by Saudi Arabia and France. And for further analysis, we're joined from Amman by political analyst Adel Mahmoud. A very warm welcome to Qnews, sir. Sir, what are the key obstacles to ensuring that, of course, sir, the release of the Israeli detainees, and how likely will the ceasefire hold from your own vision and narrative, sir?
First, Hamas' surprising decision is not understandable and giving justification to the US president to take further steps, especially to Trump, to get out of the agreement at the ceasefire, which is releasing all hostages next Saturday. This surprising decision might be even not just to Hamas, maybe it's a decision by someone else. We need to hear now. We had to listen to Trump's scheme to relocate the Gaza population again and again. This plan is very dangerous and endangers the entire region. The Hamas decision is actually met by an Israeli welcome, because now also the US administration led by Trump to continue the fight next Saturday. Now we're all waiting if they were gonna go back to war and we're gonna start from scratch. I don't think it's a very close potential, because even the Israeli leaders now really do not want to go back to the fight. The next few days will be very decisive and under Trump, and I think Hamas would actually release all the hostages if they only released 3 hostages and we went back to the original agreement. This will mean that the US president is only saying empty talk, and he does not actually means what he says. With all the threats, the region will witness further escalation, more than a diplomatic escalation. Yes, we see now Israeli violations by not entering the tents and the camps to the Gaza population. We see these Israeli violations to the ceasefire agreement, but they are not major violations. The most important thing is stopping the destruction and not giving justification to continue the fight once again.
Okay, sir. How do Egypt and Qatar's diplomatic efforts influence the Gaza ceasefire, and what role do they play in preventing further escalation, sir?
I think the diplomatic efforts will actually succeed, because all the escalations and the maneuver and announcing the agreement between the two parties, the expected violations from both ends. Now we are going to see the truce continue, because there are no real objectives of the military operations. The only objective is to push the population to the Egyptian borders by force. And if Trump wants to open the gates of hell, Hamas wants to open the gates of the fight as well. But now we see that Hamas going back to the traditional original agreement, releasing three hostages, and they're also compromising their requests to enter more humanitarian aid. In my point of view, I think the mediators will exert diplomatic pressures to present different alternative propositions, and will not leave justifications to the US or Trump to exert more destruction or more suffering on the Palestinian people. I think this decision, after the yesterday's summit between the Jordanian king and President Trump, and Trump requested that Hamas continues its end of the deal, I think we're witnessing a lot of negotiations behind closed doors to continue the ceasefire to the phase 2 and 3. We have seen some delays, but eventually this agreement is the American and not Israeli.
What are the potential long-term implications for the Gaza's reconstruction if the region's residents remain on their land, as emphasized by Egypt, sir?
I think that Netanyahu, after coming back from Washington, and also Trump is setting new goals after Trump announced that Gaza is an American territory. I think he does not speak the language of diplomacy, and yesterday the reactions to what has been proposed, that there is an Egyptian card and there is a 5-actor summit that is to be held, and new ideas to be proposed, which is an Arab coordination to support the Egyptian role in the Gaza reconstruction and keeping the population on their land. Trump here is leading a contradicting idea. Now we see the Egyptian pressure being practiced against the relocation schemes. One way or another, Trump wants to lead a US program to redemark the Middle East. These programs supported by the US, meaning that now we will see very important, significant Arab efforts, and it is very important that all Arab states come together to face the American scheme for the Middle East. We are talking about political harassment with allies in Egypt and Jordan, which are very serious indicators that the Trump determination to enter these states, which is a scheme to redemark the Middle East. There are ill intentions even for post-relocation, post-displacement phases, not only just the displacement.
Sir, how significant is the U.S. administration's pressure on Hamas to release detainees, and what impact does this have on the broader peace process?
It's a very important question.
Thank you.
Yes, تفضل.
Sir, do you need me to ask you the question again? Sir, how significant is the U.S. administration's pressure on Hamas to release detainees, and what impact does this have on the broader peace process? And you said it was a very important question, sir.
Is now faced if it's really serious to ensure peace and security, the pressures of the US will be directed to complete the truce and the ceasefire agreement, not to set new impossible objectives to release all hostages in one day, which actually hinders the entire agreement. If there is no U.S. Seriousness, and we are seeing now very ill intentions to delay the truce and to for Gaza to become the strategic objectives and to relocate the population, which is putting the Arab nations in a very tough position to receive the Gazans. Any procedures taken by the United States leading to violence is an expression of ill intentions for more new wars between Israel and the states of the regions. Now we have to see Arab unity to face the displacement of Palestinians and enabling them to hold on to their lands. Now Trump says that he wants peace and security, but these plans that he is proposing actually are against the two-state solutions, and they need to dedicate to actually ensure peace in the region. The real test here is next Saturday, so that we can see if he is serious about his threats or not, if we are going to see further escalation or not. And in my opinion, Israel, on a deeper level, they do not want to go back to the war. They are only a tool in the hands of the United States of America. They are the one creating the policies. As if Trump actually now Trump announced Gaza as an area of U.S. influence.
From Amman, that was political analyst Adil Mahmoud. Thank you, sir, for joining us on Q News and for your insights. Hamas has praised Egypt and Jordan for rejecting the displacement of Palestinians and supporting a unified Arab plan to rebuild Gaza without forcing its residents to relocate. Hamas emphasized Jordan's consistent stance against resettlement schemes that undermine Palestinian identity and rights. It also expressed gratitude to Arab and global allies who opposed such plans and reiterated the Palestinian people's unwavering commitment to their homeland, rejecting any solutions that compromise their legitimate rights to freedom and independence. United Arab Emirates President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan has emphasized to the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio the need for a just and comprehensive peace in the region based on a two-state solution to ensure security and stability for all. During a phone call, they discussed strengthening strategic cooperation and addressed regional and global developments, especially in the Middle East, while exchanging views on issues of mutual concern. And for more analysis, we're joined from Amman by Professor of Strategic Studies at Al Hussein bin Talar University, Hassan El Daja. Welcome to Q News, sir. And what are the implications of Hamas's emphasizing on Palestinian identity or emphasis on Palestinian identity and rights in the context of Gaza's future and the region's stability, sir?
Good evening to you and to the dear viewers. In my opinion, what Hamas is doing military and politically are their constants to establish the Palestinian identity and to liberate themselves from the Israeli occupation and regaining the Palestinian right in establishing a Palestinian independent state, which is the case for all the liberation movements in Palestine. It has always been the power leading to stability. As we're all aware, Hamas with other factions are doing these practices to draw the attention of the world to the Palestinian cause that has been occupied for 70 years, and they now seek the establishment of an independent state on the borders of June 1969.
Sir, what role do Arab allies play in opposing the forced displacement of Palestinians, and how effective is this opposition in shaping international policies?
Jordan and Egypt are exerting political and diplomatic efforts. They are leading the Arab efforts, and they are trying to unify all Arab fronts by expressing a unified position with the summit to be held in Riyadh and then in Cairo on the 27th of February. It is one of the Egyptian, Jordanian, Palestinian efforts to find an Arab horizon towards stopping and rejecting the displacement and handling the international community. We also saw diplomatic efforts by Jordan and Egypt to convince the European Union, which responded positively and rejected the Trump statements regarding the relocation of the Palestinian population. Regarding the forced displacement, this displacement is some kind of the violation to different international charters and resolutions, including the international law and the international humanitarian law, as the occupied populations have every right to resist the occupier.
Okay, sir, how significant is the United Arab Emirates' support for a two-state solution, sir, from your perspective and narrative?
In my opinion, the United Arab Emirates' efforts, joined by the other Arab nations, they are seeking to achieve the two-state solution and establish an independent, integral state of Palestine. Now we have seen the resistance movement in Palestine editing their charter, calling for an independent state on the borders of 1967. The Jordanian and Egypt agree on the same solution. And also on the Saudi Initiative 2002, which is Land for Peace. The voice is breaking out.
Sir, do you have any technical problems with the internet? Okay, sir, you're with us, sir.
There will be no horizon for a solution except with political approach.
Okay, what are China's main concerns about the United States' proposals for Gaza, and how do China's objections reflect broader international opposition to the forced relocation of Palestinians?
If we consider the international community stance, China as well rejects the relocation of the Gaza population. They expressed their utter rejection as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in China summoned all Arab foreign affairs ministers and expressed their utter and complete rejection. Russia as well advocated for the two-state solutions and rejected the displacement of Palestinians. The European Union as well, most prominent of which Britain and France, are rejecting the displacement. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, criticized Trump ideas regarding the relocation of the Gazans and owning the Gaza Strip as a violation to the international humanitarian law. Also, Chancellor Scholz criticized Trump for such an idea and described it as crazy ideas. He cannot be a diplomat if he spoke like this as a real estate alter or a trader who is making deals as a businessman.
Okay, sir, your answer about Olaf Scholz, of course, brings us to another question, and I want to know your narrative on this question. How does France's comments about Gaza's reconstruction align with other European countries' positions on Palestinian sovereignty and territorial integrity, sir?
In my opinion, the Gaza reconstruction issue will face a lot of obstacles because the Israeli stance now, the Israelis now have a green light from Trump to displace the Palestinians. So the following stage will be very complicated. There will be pressures for the exchange of hostages. But Netanyahu does not want to complete the agreement and is trying to create obstacles by violating the items approved and agreed upon, especially with entering the caravans and the tents to Gaza. The Israeli front now is divided. One party wants to restore, to bring back the hostages, and others want to complete the war, including Smotrich. He wants to complete the war because without the war they will face trials first by the Israeli peoples because they did not achieve the goals they announced when they announced war in Gaza, and also the number of injured soldiers and killed soldiers. And there are also the Israeli courts. They face different charges, including bribery. And also the ICJs, 3 different types of different trials will happen to these far-right officials in case they leave office, and that's why they want to complete the war. Now they are putting a condition to rule out Hamas from the picture completely.
And will they rule out Hamas? Sir, that was Professor of Strategic Studies at Al Hussein bin Talal University, Mr. Hassan El Daja from Amman. Thank you very much for joining us here on Q News. This brings us to the end of our special coverage on Gaza. Don't forget to follow Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at QNewsEG to stay informed. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more coming up here on Q News.